Hello everyone and welcome to my new tutorial. In this tutorial, I will teach you how to create walk and sprint system. When you press and hold left shift, you're going to run, and when you release, you're going to walk. Okay, so let's get started. For this tutorial, I will use the third-person template. Now let's open up the third-person character blueprint and head over to the character movement, select it, and on the right side, you can type max walk speed. So max walk speed by default is 500. So let's make it 250 for example, to see how it goes. Now default is going to be 250. And the animations are handled by default. So you see we have walking animation. This comes with the default template. So this is already made for us to use. Okay, now let's go back to the blueprint. Now find the empty space. You can right click and type keyboard. So you can select any of these. And now with this selected, in the top right corner, when you click on this keyboard, you can assign key. So I will press left shift. So when you press left shift, something will happen. And when you release, something else will happen. Now click and drag the character movement onto the graph and type set max walk speed. Select the first one, set max walk speed. And here you can enter a value. So connect the nodes, and in the max walk speed, you can put value something like 500. And when you release the left shift, you want to go back to the character movement default. So let's see what was it, max walk speed. So we want to be back to 250. So here is going to be 250. And you can connect this. Now let's see if this is working. Now I'm walking. I'm pressing and holding left shift now. And I'm releasing. And this is how we make basic sprint walk system. Okay, now let's tidy up the code a bit. You can detach this by holding Alt and left click. We can select these three and right click. Collapse to macro. And now the macro, we're going to name it walk sprint. Now let's double click to enter the macro. So now we have here another tab. So this is the event graph, this is the macro. Now macros can have multiple inputs and outputs, which means multiple of these and these. So click and drag this and put it into the input and get this max walk speed and put it over here as well. And now when you go back, we have these two pins. So this and this are coming from these two we have put. So which means when you press, this is going to execute based on this parameter. So we can select this input and we can type here something like sprint. So when you go back to the event graph, we have this sprint here. And then we can select again and we can name this sprint speed. Now let's make a default value over here. So default sprint speed can be 500, but you can change it afterwards. Now since this is 500 by default, when you drag and drop the macro, it's going to have this value. Okay, so back again. So next we want to release the shift and something else to happen. So get this pin and also put it here. You can select the input and I will name it walk. And now this you can put it also here. and you can name it walk speed. This keeps on opening, I don't know why. So open the walk speed variable, and the default is going to be 250. Now compile and save. Now when you go to the graph, we have this pin. So when you press left shift, this is going to execute based on this parameter. And for the release, it's going to be walk based on this parameter. Now let's see if this is working. So I'm walking, this is the default. I'm holding shift and releasing, so it works perfectly fine. Now let's see if we can tweak the values if they are working too. Let's say for sprint, I will put 2000. Now when I hold shift, I should run very fast. So I can make this something like a super speed or things like that. And when I release, I walk to 50. Okay, let's check the code one more time. You can name it something like this, more organized. Compile and save, you can close this up, and that's it. This is how you're creating basic sprint walk system. If you want to change the button for the sprint, simply select this, click on the keyboard, and let something like left control, and you can tweak these values. So I put this to 500, so sprint 500 and walk speed 250. Okay, this is going to be it for this video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.